It's time for the one and only Nigel Farage, and the government is insisting it will appeal a bombshell legal ruling that would block Rwanda deportations across the whole of Northern Ireland. Sunak has said he will fight yesterday's decision made by the Belfast High Court, which ruled that the Illegal Migration Act's powers to send migrants from Northern Ireland to Rwanda would be incompatible with the European Convention on Human Rights. The judge also decided that the Act would breach the Good Friday Agreement of 1998. A Home Office source has warned, I tell you. If word gets out, then people will move to Northern Ireland to avoid being sent to Rwanda. Well, word has gone out, and everyone's been warning about it for ages, and now, shock horror, it's happened. Nigel, further proof that Britain should just simply pull out of the ECHR?
Here, absolutely. There's no question about it. You can see exactly what's going to happen. I mean, number one, the Windsor framework, as sold to us by spinner Rishi, you can see now was a complete and utter lie. Sorry, strong word, but absolutely true. And the way Sunak does this and presents things and denies the truth, Northern Ireland is still part of the European Union. End of. That is why there is no way, I mean, even though Rwanda itself may not work as the ECHR, but there's no way Northern Ireland is joining that scheme. What is even more interesting is, of course, that clever old Tony Blair, he wrote the ECHR into the devolution agreements. He wrote it into the peace agreement in Belfast in 1998, the Good Friday Agreement as we know it. And there's no doubt that leaving the ECHR is the only way through all of these problems. We also must, acknowledge it'll mean a lot of hard work. Re-looking at the re-examining the whole devolution deal. It'll mean a lot of hard work. But the fascinating thing is this. If boat migrants come to Britain, are put in flats or four-star hotels, abscond then to Northern Ireland, cross the border into Dublin, the Irish government will use it as an excuse to cover up for their own mass failures on legal and illegal immigration. And you know what will happen? They'll demand a border. You really couldn't bet this stuff.
No, it's bonkers, yeah. Yeah, it's bonkers. Can I just put this to you, Nigel? I'll just put this to you, right? So, Rishi Sunak's defiant response to the ruling yesterday, right? I have been consistently clear that the commitments in the Belfast Agreement should be interpreted as they were always intended and not expanded to cover issues like illegal migration. We will take all steps to defend that position, including through appeal. Look, Nigel, Rishi Sunak saying, I will not let a foreign court dictate to me. He's saying this about, this is what I always intended. But then, also today we've got, a Home Secretary had commissioned a group of university academics to do a report on whether or not we should get rid of the graduate scheme. You don't do that as a Home Secretary if you actually want to cut the number of graduates, do you? Is this just an example, again, of Sunak saying one thing and actually not really caring behind the scenes?
They want to con the British public. They're fighting an election. They want to deceive the British public once again. Vote for us. We're not as bad as Labour. We're Conservative, really. We're terribly sorry for the last 15 years. But honestly, you can trust us. Don't believe a single word. In some ways, they're worse than Labour because they give false hope to the silent majority, yet let us down every single time. Sunak has zero intention of leaving ECHR. Absolutely zero. And he's playing the game that the Tories played over the UKIP rise on the European Union. Well, of course, if things got so bad, we'd have to consider a different approach. And then in the end, they were forced to give a referendum. And then when we said we'd leave, they tried to stop it. I mean, all the way through, you've got to understand, there is no Conservative Party. It does not exist. Oh, their members are Conservative and patriotic. Their voters are Conservative and patriotic. Their parliamentary party is not. And, we have the lovely Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg on our channel, and there are others like Liz Truss and Mark Francois, who have views, Patrick, similar to you and me, but they are in a tiny minority of the parliament.
Just on that, I wasn't actually planning on talking to this about you next, but you've mentioned Jacob there, and he told me to ask you earlier during my handover whether or not you'd become a cabinet minister in the Conservatives. I think I'm just hearing now. I'm hearing now. Look, we've got a little clip of this, so let's have it then. Yeah. Go on.
Lies in reuniting the right. with the help of Nigel Farage in a Conservative government as a Conservative minister, with Boris Johnson probably returning as Foreign Secretary and welcoming the likes of Ben Habib and Richard Tice into our party, as well as pursuing genuinely Conservative policies, winning the next election suddenly becomes within reach.
Danny, to be honest, I was busy planning my own show, so I didn't actually see him say that live. But it's quite astonishing, actually, for a Conservative MP to come out and say that, Nigel.
Well, not just a Conservative MP, but, you know, one that's held high office and also is held in high regard amongst the Conservative Party membership. It is an extraordinary thing to say, but Jacob, play a bit of Supertramp. Their top track is called Dreamer. And it's just not going to happen because Rishi is not bold. He has no leadership whatsoever. And the truth is that the vast majority of Conservative MPs are Social Democrat, One Nation, careerists. They have no courage. They have no vision. This will not happen, even though Jacob thinks it's a frightfully good idea.
Well, it's possibly a frightfully good idea for Jacob because it might make him more inclined to keep his seat, which I'm sure, you know, we all hope he does. But anyway, Nigel, you've been challenged by the health minister today. It's kicking off with you today, Nigel. They've been challenged by the health minister today after you suggested that Britain should turn its back on the World Health Organization. You're not content with dragging us out of the European Union. You want to drag us out of the World Health Organization, the pandemic treaty as well. What institution won't you tear down, Nigel? But go on. He says your claims are myths. Go on, Nigel. You're itchy to get involved.
Hang on. What I said was very clear. That if the World Health Organization is there as a place for best practice, for exchange of information, as an early warning system, where we can learn things from each other, I'm very, very happy to be a part of it and pay a membership fee for the benefit of that knowledge. No problem, no question whatsoever. But the planned pandemic treaty, which they put together in the depths of 2021, when COVID was a real problem around the world, which of course Boris Johnson signed, proposes to transfer powers from our parliament, our sovereign parliament, to their bureaucratic institution. And what's on the table potentially is a very massive shift of power. And I'm saying, let's go there. Let's be robust. We'll find other countries that join us.
Okay.
Let's say back to first principles. Only then will we leave.
Nigel, thank you very, very much. Nigel Farage there.